stamps and welfare and every kind of government subsistence that you can imagine. And through that experience was, as much as it was suffering, it was a time when God spoke loudest to me. You know? And more or less said, this is what I want you to do. You know, you thought you knew what you had to do, but now you don't have to do that. This is what I want you to do, because frankly, you have nothing left to lose.
So I was fresh from Australia. I moved at 14. We were going to People's Church at the time. I was in a choir actually, and Ed, I don't know if you know this, but we did Destined to Win in a choir. Yeah. And so that was like one of my first probably encounters with DeGarmo, and he was in that choir. We did actions with it, the whole thing. It was awesome. And then around that time, Dad called Eddie kind of out of the blue and just said, hey, my daughter's singing some, and she's singing at People's Church in Franklin. You want to come and just check her out? And so he came and saw me do some worship. And we had a meeting at Shoney's, remember? Soon after that, I was 15, and he said, hey, I'm thinking about signing you to a development deal. You know, what do you think about that? And that was, I was so intimidated by Eddie. That is probably one of my early memories, is all these meetings we'd go to Forefront, and I'd be sitting there in that office on the couch and just, Eddie, you know, I was just so intimidated. And I think Ed, over the years, has just become like family to me.
So, what did you call it? A mentoring memoir? Yeah, I love that. I'm curious if you do this intentionally or it just happens organically with you. That you mentor people through story and just real life, real time examples. And you did with me and you did with everybody around you. Whether you knew it or not, you were doing it.
So one day Eddie called and said, you know, let me help you learn how to qualify a buyer. I'm like, okay. Because trust me, there weren't that many buyers qualified. And so he's telling me what to look for in a buyer. I said, Ed, here's my problem. In Memphis, we're doing the number 8 winner. The number 8 caller wins 2 front row tickets and backstage passes. It's the same person all 8 times on the phone. There is no outlet for this music. So, but Ed's genuineness of life taught me so much. And he tells you he was always a businessman. And he prepared me for Toby, who I've been with for 30 years now. But they're very, very similar, very high artistic levels, but also they understand the working of a business. And so he's been a really sweet part of my history.
Something happened to them on the road. Something broke down. And I heard through the grapevine, through
this story.
Another wife or girlfriend at the time, that this really good-looking girl invited her boyfriend and my husband to her house one night, you know, after the breakdown, and she showed up to give him a ride and all this kind of thing. And I hear that Eddie said, let's make a pact, let's don't tell our girlfriends and our wives about this. It just upset them. We don't want to tell them any of this stuff. Well, of course it gets back to you. Why? It always gets back to you, doesn't it? I mean, girlfriends, everybody?
Yeah.
So I decide that I'm going to send him 1 red rose, and it's going to say, next time you can stay at my place. And it's going to come to our house. So I did that. I called the florist, and I knew they had band practice at the house that day. And I hear the doorbell ring. Now, the house we were in would fit in the den, right here. So all the guys had taken a break. It was Dana, Eddie, Tony, was Tony there? Tony Pilcher, Kitty Porter.
Terry Moxley, probably.
Were you there, Greg?
No, it was Moxley.
Terry, okay. So they were all sitting in the den, and I was in the kitchen. I could see everything. I hear the door knock. Eddie answers the door. This is for me? This is for me? And he goes, I hear this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How did you find out where I live? Oh my gosh. How am I going to tell her about this? Oh my gosh. And I can see Dana's face. And Dana's like, he's looking at me, he's looking at Eddie, he's looking at me, he's looking at Eddie, and I'm doing everything to keep it together. you know, because I'm about to start laughing. So he goes, I gotta go down. I just gotta go down. So he comes into the kitchen, and my back is to him, and he goes, honey, I don't know how to tell you this, but something happened on the road. Something broke down, and this girl wanted me and Kenny, and I turned around, and I just burst out laughing. And what he didn't put in the book is that he said I was from hell. I had scared him so bad. And I said, he goes, what? How did you know? I said, I will always find out. I will always find out. So you better tell me everything that happens on the road. It will always get back to me. Believe me, it will get back to me. And it always has. It always has. It always will. And he's always been upfront about it and everything now, though. But, oh my gosh. I think every one of those guys was about to wet their pants. And they were like, we didn't have cell phones, but they were like, I got to call my girlfriend. I got to tell them what's going on. But look at Dave, it's it was dramatic.
Yeah, I'm glad she doesn't really remember the story.
Oh, really? I didn't hear the real story.
Yeah, it was unfortunately a little more salacious, but
Well,
it all turned out.
that was a long time ago, Ed.
Oh gee, what time is it up I think the prime thing you're going to see in this book is Eddie's unwavering belief in what the calling was for him. And the deal is, he and Dana were at a spot. They had a deal. They had a secular record deal with London. I'm sure he talks about that in this book. And they walked away from everything they had worked for to that point on a calling. And they never wavered from that. Once they went down that path through trials and turmoil and arguments and Lord knows what else, it was unwavering. And I think that's the thing with Eddie. It's just how faithful he was to that calling. That's what I carry from it.
I mean, the guy is not only a rebel and an innovator, he was able to think different, he was able to present different, and the industry has been blessed because of his creativity and his innovation. And so many artists, of course, have come out of his brain and out of his context and out of his intuition, and I really appreciate that.